Ty, you just started a new Substack just recently for Truth
Yeah,
About
we
Cancer.
did. We started a Substack in February for the Truth About Cancer.
Yes,
Yeah.
it says the truth about cancer official.substack.com. I'm on it right now. Lots of great articles and things that you said you're putting out still. And, occasionally we run into these cases of children with cancers and leukemias and the controversy of how if you think you own and control your child, once the kid has cancer and the system gets a hold of them, they won't let go of them. In fact, if you don't do what they say, like chemo, radiation, whatever it is, they'll take your child away. And we've covered too many stories like that. I don't have tears left hardly. And there's another one. Super D, can you introduce this? What's going on here?
Yeah, so this is a give send go that's been set up for a young girl named Ari, who was diagnosed with leukemia just not terribly long ago, like about a year ago, just before her 5th birthday. And I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine what that would be like. But they're working hard to try and do something about this. Now the little girl is going through chemotherapy, and
Court
this
mandated, medically
this
mandated.
is this is not well. Listen. We've covered stories like this before where, um, if you don't comply with what the hospitals are telling you to do, then you're putting a target on yourself.
They'll take your children. We know that. They'll kidnap
We've
these
covered
children.
too many stories like that.
Yeah.
And so in this case, they're doing what it is that they feel they have to do to not cause a problem for the other children in the family. And so there's a treatment in particular that seemed to do well for Ari, and it's called in-light therapy. It's a light treatment.
Okay.
And so this is what the Give Send Go is about. Is they're trying to raise the funds in order to be able to make that possible for her. But what I was wondering, I just kind of wanted to throw this out there to you and to Ty. What other things could you recommend in addition maybe to this treatment that they're looking at that would be helpful in a situation like this where you've got a 5-year-old, 6-year-old that is going through chemo. Obviously the immune system is just being obliterated. The antibiotics are giving are doing a job on the flora and the gut. What could you recommend? Because Ty, I mean, you've been talking about this for decades now, right? And Robert, of course, what could you guys suggest that they could do to help their daughter?
Well, I can tell you what a parent I know did. So, and this was in Global Quest, one of the parents that I interviewed. His daughter was 2 or 3, and I think she had some sort of a blood cancer, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was a brain cancer. Regardless, he and she was doing forced chemo because they were going to take the other kids. Same, very same scenario.
Right.
And so he took Life One, which is the product that Dr. Michael Farley developed. It's got the resveratrol and quercetin and diindolylmethane and sulforaphanes and all the ECGC and the different substances that have anti-cancer effects. And he just sneaked it into her and gave it to her every day, a couple times a day while she was doing the chemo. And she came through the chemo great, and it because that kept her immune system strong. And she went into remission. I think she's still alive today.
Is that still available, Ty?
Huh?
Is it still available, the Life One?
Yeah, I'll send you a link where you can send it to them to where they can get it.
That would be great, really great. I was thinking, how do you get selenium into a young child, right? We know how important that is to protect against.
The Life One's got selenium, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
For me, homeopathic remedies for the liver, drainage remedies. I've talked about that. We do a homeopathic hit every day. Single remedies or complexes. I remember our friend Dr. King. Remember he had a chemo cleanse. It was. I don't know if the FDA even lets him name it that anymore. So you kind of have to maybe reach out to Dr. King's and find out, hey, do you have that old formula? Is it called something else? Because these are safe things that are absolutely not harmful to any age. That can be utilized to protect against the harmful effects of chemo. And it's not going to stop the chemo from doing what they want chemo to do, but it'll help protect the healthy cells, which is what we're talking about. And it's still maddening and annoying and infuriating that these chemo doctors will advise against taking anything that's an antioxidant as if it was going to stop the chemo, because it doesn't. The cancer cells can't use the antioxidants. It's only the healthy cells. So you're giving you a better chance of survival even under chemotherapy.
Yeah, I'm just kind of chuckling to myself at the absurdity of having to sneak in a product like Life One that contains selenium, quercetin, resveratrol, ECGC, diindolylmethane, and four other ingredients. There's 9 cancer killers in this, but they have to sneak it in. But they could openly take in a box of GMO donuts, and the oncologist would feed them to the kid, no problem. But they have to sneak in something like Life One. It's just crazy.
Yeah. It's so disappointing. And I try to detach from it because it gets, that's where it really gets you in that emotional body. And you're like, I want to beat the tar out of, and I'm like, I know that the violence is not going to solve the problem. We got to appeal to something, a higher sense of, but I just think about if this were my kids, what I would be willing to do to protect them. Right. And yet these parents are made criminals just for wanting to help protect their kids from the dangers of even the oncological treatment. Maybe these doctors mean well, and I'm not saying that they don't. Most of them probably do, but boy, oh boy, their limited training is deadly, absolutely deadly, even if there can be some help from some of the things they do. So again, this is another story. Yeah.
I like one of the comments just came out. It says, "Give donuts with selenium cream filling."
That's great. Yes, thanks, Steve. That would be helpful. Yeah, anything to get that selenium in them. All right. So, Truth About Cancer has a new Substack. We have it linked.
By the way, I just want to mention that if you feel inclined to do so, we've got the Give Send Go in the show notes.
Okay.
And I spoke with the father just before we went to air, and he'll be calling in to talk a little bit more about their story in the bonus round.
Okay, so we'll actually hear from the dad in the bonus round?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, wonderful. Well, I'm glad we can at least put out there for help. And, the next thing to consider, of course, for those of you who are wanting to have kids that, hopefully you're fertile enough to do so. There's been a lot of devastating impact on fertility because of COVID injections, for instance. But it was on the decline long before that because of the wrong food, everything, the vaccines prior to that. All of this has been adding up. But do your best to clean up your act. If you're a young person yet having babies and you want to have babies, detoxify your liver, go organic, clean up yourself, both body, mind, and spirit, and, bring that healthiest of healthy children in and repopulate the world like Don Naylor's family apparently is doing. He's got another grandkid on the way, Ty. It's like the Naylors are just fully we're repopulating the planet.
Nice job.
So there is fertility out there somewhere, somehow. But I just want to say that, a case of leukemia in a child, for instance, a lot of the issues relate to electromagnetic radiation. We talked about, reducing your exposure to those invisible components that are adding up to, put these little kids over the edge into cancer, for instance. And so doing better about our, we talked about the environment last hour. It's not about carbon dioxide. It's about toxins. And if we were talking about that, there'd be very little disagreement among left and right. We're going, we don't want to poison ourselves or our children. That's pretty much a common ground. But when they talk about CO2 and climate change, that becomes a disastrous attempt to initiate communism on us in a surreptitious way of like, we're not going to do and call it communism. We're going to call it climate stuff. So, but we can.
Yeah. The climate changes, they use a lot of bait and switches, right? So they're like, you don't believe in climate change, you want to kill the planet. Well, those aren't equivalents. That's not, no, we don't want to kill the planet. We want a healthy earth. We want a place for our kids and grandkids to grow up in a clean environment. So just because we refuse to believe in anthropomorphic climate or global warming doesn't mean we want the world to be polluted. But it's kind of like the different arguments that are used on both sides of the political spectrum, right? If you disagree with someone about something legitimate, then you're a racist, hater, this or that. It's like, no, we just disagree with you on this one thing.
Yeah. Well, man, I'm just feeling it all today. A little emotional, also emotional having you back on. It's been so long. I mean, I think like Ty Bollinger's here. Hooray!
I'll have to try to make it on at least once a month, man.
Yeah,
I'll
man,
try to
that'd be
do that.
awesome. Just yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I realize, the kind of work you did, and I was, as you were doing each year, you were doing these video series, and like I was just feeling for you. You're working day and night, never hardly sleeping. So to hear that you're like taking it a more balanced approach makes me happy as well. Even though I miss you every day or every week, but yeah, once in a while it's great to have you on board. If you could spare once a month, if Charlene will loan you to us, we always have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
Very cool. So let me see what else we got on the news docket. Benefits of, hey, let's talk about a positive thing. You want to make your house smell good? Actually, yeah, cook onions and garlic in your house. People go, that smells good. But also, even better than the smell is the benefit to you in preventing cancer. Did I say that? Yeah, indeed. It's one of the stories here at the Truth About Cancer website. The benefits of onions and garlic, one of nature's great natural weapons against cancer.
Yeah, I mean, this the vitamin mineral profile is really good, and I think the thing that makes onions and garlic the best is the fact that they smell, and the cancer's afraid of the smell.
That's right. It's the
No,
high
not really.
sulfur content.
Yeah,
It's
not really.
true.
But yeah, and you've got what is it in garlic? Allicin. That's one of the main
Mhm,
cancer killing compounds. You have a lot of sulfuric compounds in both of them, and you got a lot of vitamins, minerals. You got selenium,
mhm.
right? So these are two really potent anti-cancer veggies. So why not add them to everything? I add them to everything.
Mhm.
I eat garlic and onions in almost every dish that I make. Is I'll add garlic and onions to it because I know they're good for me. I like the taste, and I know that they've got anti-cancer properties. So that's an easy way to um, not cancer-proof your life, but improve your diet to where you're fighting cancer.
Mhm.
Is adding these two substances to dishes. Ginger's another great one that's got anti-cancer. Ashwagandha is another root, turmeric root. So any of these, natural roots and vegetables that have anti-cancer effects, throw them in a big old casserole and cook it with some fish or organic chicken or eggs or whatever. That's one of the things I've been eating quite a bit of too, Robert. Just all over the place today is a lot of organic eggs.
Mhm.
So
Do
that's
you have do you have the backyard chickens back in season or anything, or you get just the organic local stuff?
yeah, just getting local. But yeah, we've talked about getting hens again, and we might. Grizzly died last year, right? So we have another black German Shepherd, and looks just like Grizzly, but he's smaller, but he's growing.
Mhm.
But yeah, we got him from David Buttar, Rashid's
Oh,
ex-wife,
right.
and one of their dogs. So it's one of their purebred German shepherds, and he's been trained, and he's a fantastic dog. So
Would he
no,
protect chickens or eat chickens?
that's what made me think of him is Grizzly destroyed chickens. He loved eating chickens. So
Right.
if we do end up doing that, we'll have to train the dog not to.
Yes.
Yeah, because Grizz really enjoyed those chickens.
Well, I'm happy to hear Batar's love of those German shepherds lives on. That you got one of them as kind of a nice lineage of memory.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We had great memories with Rasha down in Panama. I was just I uncovered some pictures just a couple months ago of he and me and Bryce, and trying to think who else was in the photos. Maybe Abby when he was
Mm.
really small, but down there in Panama, the first time I met Rashid, which I guess was maybe 2008
Mhm.
and or so. So yeah, then
Yeah.
16 years ago. But anyway, yeah,
There's
I
still.
think I think Rashid
Mhm.
wasn't he the one that connected you and I initially
Yeah.
before we did the
And
show?
you see, the thing is, since that time where we were all connected, that it was like where we ended and began was hard to delineate and differentiate. But the reality is, yeah, it was Rashid that brought us together because
Yeah,
I had known him back in the late '90s from his, travails with Abi and what he went through, and when I started my show, and then connected and actually narrated some of his early videos back in the day. And that he was the one that said, "Hey, you should get to meet this guy Ty." But I almost forget that because the friendships we developed
yeah.
were just like timeless. Like you didn't even
Mhm.
know when it started anymore. But it's true. Rashid connected us.
Yeah. I still remember talking to him when we lived in Tennessee, in Centerville, Tennessee, way back 2009ish, I think it was, and he was talking about that, or maybe it was 2011. I can't remember, man. It was,
Mm.
but it was before we did our show,
Yeah.
and he was talking about how he was going to start doing a show with you, and I should talk to you. And so Rashid was one of and then you were one of the main reasons that TTAC was introduced to so many people, because you knew so many people that I didn't know, and you introduced me to them, and I interviewed them for the Quest for the Cures and a Global Quest and Truth About Vaccines and all that. So yeah, would not be around. This great awakening that's happened in the health industry wouldn't have happened without you. That's for sure.
Well, I'm just grateful and blessed to be able to be a connector of good people to help, on this mission that really I was inspired to do for my own health first and foremost. And then when I looked around and said, man, I didn't know any of this and I was going down a disastrous road. What about everybody else? I don't think they know it either. And then they couldn't shut me up, even in censorship during COVID. We still are going strong. So, again, I'm grateful for all the connections that all the things that brought us together. And it's nice to reminisce and think about Rashid Buttar and how he connected us as well.
Yeah, definitely is, man.
Amazing. There's another article here, by the way, in the truthaboutcancer.com that came out just a few days ago, not long ago. Cancer 101 Causes and Solutions. Again, if you go to your, oncologist, they might still say, stop smoking, don't eat red meat, even though red meat isn't truly a cause of cancer if it's coming from grass-fed, grass-finished animals. But let's put that aside and let's go to the basics here. It seems like every once in a while you got to bring out the basics.
Yeah, and that's what this is. And we put together, I know that we're close to time on the show, so you can read the screen. I won't go through all these things, but we put together a really nice 5 or 6 minute video too that you can share with people. Just send them the link to it's a Rumble video. It's also embedded in the article that goes through all these different things that people can. We've been having one of our video creators create what we call health nuggets on all of our articles, and so this is one of those that we've got a health nugget for. And it's pretty interesting and it's fun to watch, and he does a great job with the music and with the B-roll video and stuff. So that's kind of a fun way to read the article, is actually to watch the video, because it's more entertaining.
Nice. And then one last thing, how do people plug into Charlize? You say you're focusing on that with Charlene so much. Maybe people aren't aware of it. Where would they go to find out?
Yeah, the website is charlize.beauty, CHARLIS.beauty.
.beauty. I didn't even know there was a .beauty. Charlize. Beauty. Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, love to Charlene and the whole family. Hopefully I can get out to Tennessee before long or see you. Maybe we can if timing is right for the Health Freedom Expo, since it's moved up to end of September in Indianapolis. You're not that far from Indianapolis, are you?
I think we're about a 4-hour drive, actually.
That's not bad at all.
Not bad.
All right, we'll see what we can do. Well, man, my brother, it's so good to see you. And I look forward to seeing everybody, the kids all grown up as well soon. And with that, we'll wrap it up with you. And you know what to do, because it's the end of the hour 2.
I think I'm supposed to tell them that the power to heal is yours.
Ever sent those paper bags of flying, lighting them on fire, and they don't burn till later? That's kind of
called sky lanterns.
Sky lanterns, right?
That was a request by Rita, who shot me an email and said, "Can you do sky lanterns?"
That's cool. I like that, but don't do it when the fire danger is high.
Whatever. Yes. Okay. Don't do sky lanterns in the middle of a dry field. With knee high weeds.
You know how it is.
Dead grass. Yeah.
If we don't say that, somebody's going to do that and then blame us.
I know. It always goes back to, because in our generation, the number one thing when if somebody said to you,
Mhm.
Okay, name the number one thing that was the most dangerous thing that was commonly used by kids
Mhm.
of our generation
Mhm.
as something to play with. What comes to mind?
But it's clearly lawn darts.
Lawn darts, right? That's
Yeah.
the one that
Yeah.
everybody picked. And
Yeah.
I mean, literally, it was like a I don't
A
know how you would just
missile
it
from the
was just a
sky,
like
man.
yeah, it was like a spear tip
Yeah.
with wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd throw it up in the air and then run away and
Yeah.
see it was supposed to like I think it was supposed to like land. You're supposed to try and see if you could get it to land like on a target or
Yeah,
something.
you had
Like,
little hoop targets on the ground that you're
but
supposed
nobody did
but
that. I mean, some people did, but they were boring,
but
right?
inadvertently, even by accident, you could go, "Oops, it's going up." It's like,
Oh
dude,
yeah.
if you don't have a big time helmet, that thing's going through you.
Well, and it's not like
Yeah.
99% of the people that played this game, it's not like they were trained javelin throwers that knew where it was going to land. Or no, you just threw that thing up in the air and it landed wherever it was
Right.
going to land.
Well,
And I mean,
we made ramps, we jumped stuff
they
without
were about they were
helmets.
about that
Yeah.
long,
Yeah. Yeah, I
and it
remember. They
was
were
literally
heavy.
like a steel
It was
spear.
heavy. They were heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would drop through
What
things.
I would do for a set of lawn darts today, huh?
Oh, good lord. What would you do with them? I don't even wanna know.
Yeah. So anyway,
Don't let your grandkids loose with lawn darts at this
just
point.
because we showed sky lanterns on the show does not mean
Yeah.
that we're endorsing that you go burn down the forest. Okay, just a little
Just to be sure.
disclaimer there.
Just to be sure. Hey, it
Little
was
disclaimer there.
good to see Ty Bollinger back on, and boy, oh boy, I don't think those were artificial intelligence, biceps. They were real. He's been
No,
working out.
nope. Kind of
Yeah.
fun to hear him. He's talking about AI and Chat
Yeah.
GPT and all that kind of stuff.
I got to be careful about talking about kickboxing now because my body just goes into it and does it. Like I just,
I saw that. Are you
I
okay?
need no, I'm fine, but it was
Need
like,
some
holy
arnica
crap.
for your knee, maybe?
No, I did not hurt myself, Super Don, but
Okay.
I almost hurt the desk. But the thing is, I would have tipped the whole thing over because you don't realize when you do these things in non-combat situations against like a heavy bag, that your body is now trained. When you tell it to do that, you're like, holy crap, there's a lot of force behind that. And
Right.
I wasn't thinking, yeah, let me knee the table hard. And it was like, boom. I was like, oh, just describing it, your body goes, oh yeah, you're supposed to do this.
Yes.
So look out.
All right, so I'm gonna get Chris on the line here.
Okay.
So I'll be back in just a moment.
Mm-hmm. All right. So heads up. Next, is it next week already? No. Let me think. A Thursday after the show next week. I think it's going 11th to the 12th. The 12th, I'll be broadcasting. That's the plan from Sonoran University in Tempe, Arizona, Phoenix area. There's a naturopathic school. They do homeopathy, things like that. I'm going to be there for a student fair, and the fair is actually live when we would normally be live, but I'm going to broadcast the show early, 2 hours early. So instead of 3 to 5, it'll be 1 to 3, or in noon to 2, like Pacific time, it'll be 10 a.m. to noon Pacific time. That's next Thursday, I think the 11th, and then or the 12th. I'm sorry, Friday the 12th. That's the plan for that show, and then that'll wrap up next week. The following week, I think, is when we've got the adventure to go to the salt mines, Redmond Salt Mine, Wednesday the 17th with Liana and a bunch of folks and super fans of the show. We've already got every slot filled there. We do have 10 tickets to give away, I believe, unless somebody's claimed them, for the Be Healthy Utah event, the 19th and 20th.
I actually just sent you an email, forwarded an email you. We had another person just wrote in and requested.
So we have 2 requests so far. Okay,
Yes.
great. And then, so that'll be that event. I'll be speaking at 8 p.m. on that Friday night, the 19th, the final keynote that night. And then Liana is, I think, going on earlier in the day, Liana Warner Gray on that day. So we got a lot of cool events coming up. And we did hear from Jason Mackey, who's a patron supporter of the Robert Scott Bell Show. He's going to be flying in from Denver for the event. And he's claimed some free tickets already as well. And then if we sell out of the free tickets, if you know what I mean, then I think we'll have 40% off. So you'll still get a deal to get in. So that's it. Do you have our guest on the phone? Bonus round guest?
Got the father of Ari, and this is Chris on the line here. How you doing, Chris?
Not too bad. How about you two? How about you guys?
Good.
Chris, we were talking about your story with Ty Bollinger, my buddy from The Truth About Cancer. We were, discussing some things in light of the history of this show and all the stories we've covered, like your daughter's case with a leukemic type cancer diagnosis, and how heavy-handed the government is to mandate, force you to do things, and it's like you don't have parental authority, so you try to do everything you can to protect your child, from a mandated treatment. and you're looking at this in-light therapy system. We talked about some other options for her. In fact, Ty's going to send over a link for something as well. But tell us how she's doing right now. What's the latest?
Oh, she is actually doing really, really well. We have been doing some alternative stuff ourselves. We had a friend who was down from Canada, who was the individual that told us about the in-light therapy and ran some sessions on her, as well as some of us, because just to get your lymphatic system moving just in general is always a good thing.
Yes.
He also gave us a couple things to do, so we're doing two per day, one in the morning, one at night, tinctures of stinging nettle and burdock root and dandelion root, some chlorophyll, just a couple of things that'll help clean the blood, help her immunity, help her immune system. So got to get that good stuff in there because the chemo, I'm sure your listeners know, but some may not, but the chemo doesn't just kill the bad stuff, it also kills the good stuff. So you got to reinforce that good stuff. So that's a couple things that we've been doing.
Well, Chris, the thing is, it's chemotherapeutic chicken. We know that they poison the body with the hopes that the cancer cells are killed quicker than the healthy cells. And what we strategize is, and it's appropriate strategy, is like, let's give the body, her little body, all the things it can do to protect the healthy cells. When you give good things to the body, it doesn't protect cancer cells. And that's what, unfortunately, these oncologists don't seem to read the peer-reviewed literature, understand the importance of selenium and other things to protect the healthy cells. It's not going to stop the chemo from killing things, but you're going to protect your healthy cells from being destroyed by the chemo as well.
Right. And I even I recorded a conversation between her and my doctor about cannabinoids, and I asked her, what do you know about the cannabinoids? What are you do you look at any of the research coming out, or have you seen? And she's like, well, no, but if you want to do something, just make sure you run it by us first. And the only thing I'm thinking of is just,
That's an obvious no. I have no
why?
idea what you're talking about.
Right.
Which is unusual. I mean, especially in a state like Oregon.
Yeah, they're well aware of the cannabinoids benefit for children, including in cancer therapies. I don't know why that would even be controversial.
Yeah, it's weird, but they have their lane, and they've got to stay in it, which is unfortunate. And it's all about that pharmakia.
Yeah, you know it.
But
so, Robert, I mean, obviously on this show, you've been talking about this for decades now.
Yeah.
Anytime we're talking about cancer, selenium is like going to be the number one thing.
Correct.
That you're going to recommend. So, Chris, how is Ari as far as eating? I mean, is she pretty open to just eating, different things, or is she picky, or how does that work?
So that is one thing that we have also started doing is Genesis 129 specifically. Anything that has seeds, anything that is grown. So we do a lot of berries, have started doing quite a bit of berries, zucchini, oranges, just get that ATP in her too. But as far as specifically selenium based things, I am not entirely sure, but we've definitely tried to go over towards a more fruit based.
How would she do on the
diet.
supplement side of things if you were to have selenium, like in a tablet form? Is that something she could take, or that she could break up and put into something that she's eating?
I just so the supplements I'm not sure about, but no, she is not a picky eater. I'm sorry.
Okay, so in other words, if you got a hold
for not actually answering the question.
Yeah, no worries. So if you were to get a hold of a bottle of selenium, you wouldn't anticipate you would have any problem with getting her to take it.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah.
In fact, it's funny because we tried to give a set of not exactly the same tinctures, but some tinctures to our son, and he is just like, oh, this is disgusting, this is icky. And then we're like, well, hey, guess what, your sister does it twice a day. And he's like, what? I'm like, yep, she does it twice a day. So she's the one that does not really care about
Right.
taste, and will try at least something at least once,
Right.
and then if we tell her it's good for her, she'll definitely do more.
Well, you can these tablets, if you have the innate response Super Don, you can grind them up into powder, put them into anything, applesauce or a smoothie.
Is the Mega Food brand, is that a capsule instead of a
No,
tablet?
that's not. No, the Mega Food is a tablet, but the food research ones that we use now,
Oh, the food
is the
research, right?
capsule. You'd have to open the capsule and dump out
Which
the
is not a
contents again.
problem,
Yeah.
right?
So that's a good option.
No.
And what was it? Ty said, was it Life
Life
One?
One,
Life
yeah,
One.
he's
And
gonna
you'll-
get
One,
get
yep.
yeah. So what I'm gonna do is when Ty gets me that information, I'll get that to you.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, Robert, I'm gonna figure out a way we can get maybe a bottle of the food research selenium over to these guys as well, because I
Sure.
think really that's probably the number one thing that we'd
Yes.
want to start. And what would you recommend on a 5-year-old who's going through chemotherapy? What would you say would be the dosage that you would say is right for that situation?
Well, if I say it on the
It would be
air,
pretty intense, wouldn't it?
doctors are going to freak out, so I won't say it.
Okay.
I will say that a couple hundred micrograms, no problem. But I would, in cancerous situations, and especially when you're being bombarded with chemo, to protect those healthy cells. Remember, this does not inhibit, interact, and stop the chemo from killing cancer cells. Do you hear me, doctors? Selenium does not stop chemo from killing cancer cells. It simply protects your healthy cells. Why would you not want that? You would want that. We don't want indiscriminate killing of cells in adults or children with your chemo. If you want to target them to cancer, fine. Protect your healthy cells. Read the peer-reviewed medical literature, for God's sake. It's in there. Selenium and minerals and antioxidants do not inhibit chemo from impacting cancer cells, because the cancer cells don't have an onboard antioxidant defense mechanism. They can't use the antioxidants the way your healthy cells do to survive, protect themselves against the onslaught. Do you hear me? I'm just talking to any dunderheaded doctors that don't read, but anyway, I just have to say
Right.
it that way.
And then
So,
the
yeah.
other thing that came to mind is I
Yeah.
think it would be good maybe get Chris and his wife plugged into the Not a Nurse, Not a Doc group over on
Yeah.
Facebook.
So are you on Facebook? By the way, Leslie says 800 micrograms. I don't disagree, but I just want to put it on the side like that. But yeah, if you're on Facebook or whatever that's called nowadays, Not a Nurse and Not a Doc is a group that a big part of our audience is part of that, and it's an online sharing group. It's what they call a private group, I guess. I don't know if that's the case, but you have to answer some questions before they let you in. But that's where you can ask questions and get unedited answers about these things too, where you share in a community about this stuff. And it's all 100% food, whole food based. So it's not synthetic. None of the synthetics are some things we're recommending here.
Are you on Facebook, Chris?
I am, yeah. And I also have a group on Twitter that I hang out with quite a bit. And in fact, my wife kind of yells at me sometimes when I've got it going on in the background. But yeah, we're all, yep, I understand. And also something that came up in one of those groups, I'm sure your listeners are aware of too, is fenbendazole. And we just haven't gotten any of that we need to get some of that too, from what I understand, is a good treat.
Well, connect with the Not a Nurse
What's
and
the
Not a
word
Doc
that I
group.
should use?
Yeah.
Remedy treatment for cancer? Sorry, go ahead, Robert.
Right.
As Leslie's commenting, she's also in that group. There are other parents who have had children 100% recovered from cancers with the what we call the Not a Doc protocol. So plug into the Not a Nurse and Not a Doc group on Facebook and just let them know you're on the show, and they'll be happy to help you out and guide you.
I'll look that up for you, Chris, and I'll get you all this information. I'll through my wife. We'll make sure that you get the information that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And for those that
good.
want to help out, there's a Give, Send, Go to support them, and that's in the show notes today. I think Super Don, you put it up there for our April 3rd, 2024 show.
Yep. All right, Chris. Well, good luck to you, and keep us posted on the progress of things. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, gentlemen. It was a pleasure.
All right. God bless you, Chris. All the love and healing for your daughter and the whole family.
Thank you, and God bless you as well.
All right. Take care.